Tonight, we're preparing a refrigerator one-pot meal, and it's going to be delicious. And you won't have to go to the grocery. It's right there in your refrigerator. I'm Leona Dooley, and this is Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme. And you are in the kitchen where we do things in the kitchen for the kitchen. And you know what? Last night we had some honey garlic salmon that was absolutely delicious. And you know what? We had some left over. But the big guy really doesn't like leftovers. But I had too much left, so I needed to use it. But I thought, hey, I think I can come up with something that he will like, and he won't even think about last night's dinner. So, we're going to put together a refrigerator one-pot meal. So, check it out. Doing things here in the kitchen and making meals is a fun thing to do, and it should be a fun thing to you. And you know, it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be consistent. And for me, I need to plan. And for me, I need to put it down on paper, because when I put it down on paper, I'm committing to the fact that sometime or another during the week or the month that I am going to prepare that meal. So that's what it's all about. And you know, a one-pot meal is wonderful, because when you're finished, one pot to clean up and whatever dishes everyone needed at the table. But it's really all about bringing everyone to the table with the smells that are coming out of this kitchen and the love and the hugs that you're giving. So let's take a look at what I found in my refrigerator and how I'm going to put those together for tonight's dinner. A quick and easy meal is what we're going to have tonight. And I'm starting with everything being done in this one skillet. That's our one-pot meal. So we're going to go with a drizzle, about 2 tablespoons of oil, and you'll see I'm actually measuring it out. Now, I'm doing that only because of you, because normally I would just kind of throw it in there and take a chance. But tonight I'm going to be a good girl and I'm going to measure it out. You'll notice that in this container I had a pack of a broccoli salad mix. And it has the broccoli, it has a little bit of onion, it has some raisins, and it has, of course, some bacon in there. And you know, earlier we had prepped some onions, some extra onions, and so I'm just going to take some of those onions and put them down in this skillet, because we're going to need a little bit of extra oniony flavor. So I'm going to take about a handful of those frozen onions and just break them up. So that means I'm going to have to turn my stove up so that I can get those onions sizzling. And I'm not really sure, I'm just kind of playing with them. You know, you can decide if you like a lot of onions, you can add more. But this is what I tried to do in this larger gallon bag, was to cut up 1 onion per small bag. And that way it would be so easy to know what your measurements are. I also have 2 garlic cloves that I had chopped, put in that small bag, and so we're just going to flip that out as well. So that takes care of those, the onions and the garlic that we need. And let me get a spoon. You know, I love my wooden spoon. So we're going to get that wooden spoon and kind of get everything broken up. And I thought I had it hot enough, but it's taking its time tonight getting as hot as I would like for it to be.
Now, you know, it's me, so I'm going to have to add just a little tiny bit of pepperoncino. And actually, the pepperoncino is going to help to offset some of the sweet of the raisins, because we need to be able to balance that out. So the sweet and the heat should balance in this particular meal. Now, if you don't like the raisins, or if you happen to get a mix that has cranberries, you can certainly pick those out. But you know what, girls, I wasn't about to do that, and I wasn't sure how much of this that I was going to put in. But we're going to start with half, and I'm looking at that going, that looks pretty good. Well, that's a good start. Now I'm going to put those other onions back in the freezer, and you'll see off to the side that I have some pre-cooked rice, and we're going to add the rice. Now all of this was in the refrigerator. Can you believe that? I'm going to add a little center, just clear everything out of the way, and I'm going to start adding the rice into this skillet. And you notice we haven't been going even 5 minutes yet, and the skillet is nice and hot. We have a little bit of oil in there, and I will probably use every bit of that rice. And you know what, I may actually end up using all of the broccoli salad as well, but I'm going to give everything a good stir. You may see too on the stove that I have some broth. And we need that broth, because we're going to have to put at least a cup, maybe a cup and a half to 2 broth in this. We don't want it juicy. We do not want it swimming. I'm going to add some oyster sauce, but I'm going to put that actually in the skillet rather than adding it to the broth. So I'm putting in about a tablespoon and a half of oyster sauce. You notice I didn't put any salt in, just the pepperoncinos, and the reason for that is because the oyster sauce is pretty flavorful, and we're just not going to need anything else. So I'm adding in at this point about a half cup, almost, actually probably a little more than that, of the broth that I'm placing in, and just getting everything nice and mixed, and getting it hot, getting all the rice that was broken up, that needed to be broken up, that I'm putting in the rest of it. So it's all gone. So that's good. That's something else that's going to be gone out of the refrigerator. Now, this is what you do when you are either at the end of the week, or it's the night before, you're trying to get to the grocery. Look in your refrigerator, see what you have, and start to put everything together, because that's going to be important. So I'm going to add just a touch more of that oyster sauce, because it needed just a little bit. Well, let's take just a minute and talk about the ingredients that we've used thus far. And it may be some ingredients that you may have very similar items sitting right there in your refrigerator. If you'll remember, we started with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We added in onions and garlic, and they were chopped. We added in a broccoli salad mix, as well as chicken broth. And how much chicken broth you decide to add depends on what your family likes, how soupy you may like for this to be, because I'm actually going to add just a little more. I had salmon, and I'm going to be using some salmon. I used enough for at least 3 pieces, 3 nice servings. And we also added oyster sauce, red pepper flakes, and of course the rice for the number of people that you have in your family. Right there, because coming soon to Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, we have a fall lineup. We're going to have another dinner with friends. We're also going to be taking a look at one pot meals. That's going to be one of the specialties that's going to be going and running throughout the fall and winter as well. We're going to take a look at our kitchen decor, and we're going to be putting together our fall vignette. We're going to be looking at our coffee and beverage bars. We're going to be looking at, of course, that front door, because I want you to be wowed when you walk through the door to come to the kitchen. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please stop and touch that subscribe button right now, because we want you to be a part of the family, and we want you to come and to sit at the table and eat with us and chat with us and have fun. Now, we have lots of fun things planned, and I hope you will be right here with us. So let's finish up that meal, and now let's add the salmon. You can see that I am just taking it off the skin and breaking it into bite-sized pieces. Now, you don't really want to break it up too much, because this is not tuna fish. And so you want nice pieces in your stir fry that you're putting together in your one pot meal. So I'm breaking it into larger pieces, and like I said, I'm using probably about 2 or 3 really individual pieces of salmon. I've got enough here. I'm giving it just enough of a stir. I'm going to add a little bit more broth to it, because I want it to have time to simmer. I'm going to put a top on it, and when I pull it out from under that top, I'm going to sprinkle it with some spring onions, and dinner is going to be served. So let's get this good and hot, because we want the salmon to be hot. And I looked at it a little bit and thought, let me throw another little bit of salmon in there, because we do like salmon. And so I thought, well, there's no need in wasting it. I might as well put it into this dish. So the skin we're going to eliminate, and going to leave that good salmon meat right here on the stove. So I'm just kind of pressing that salmon down into the rice and broccoli mixture, turning the heat up a little bit, and I'm going to let it go.
Well, now tell me, what are some of the things that you do when you have things that are left over? Do you just throw them away, toss them into the into the trash bin? We can't afford to do that. Food is expensive. And, we're trying to stay out of the grocery as much as we can. We're trying to use everything that we possibly have. And we're trying to save some money in the process. So, what are your go-to meals? And when you have a refrigerator full of goodies, what do you do with them? Do you just take them out, let everybody make a plate, and throw them in the microwave, and that's it? Do you take them out, put them in some containers, throw them in the oven, warm it up, and it shows up the same way you had it the first time? Or do you take what's in your refrigerator and try to create a new dish? Well, that part is up to you. But that's what I like to do. And if you like those kind of things and you want to see some of the things that I do, please subscribe, because I do these kind of things all the time. I cook every night, and I'm always thinking of you. What might you be able to do that will be either exactly what I do or very similar to what I've done? So, don't mess around. Get in that refrigerator, find what you have, and put together a great one-pot meal. You are always welcome to the home of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme.
you are invited to join our family. Our family loves to decorate, to cook, and to chat. All those things make our home a warm and happy place. The kitchen is the hub, it's the heart of the home. It is in our kitchens where we love, nurture, encourage, and guide our families over delicious meals or just across the counter. Your kitchen should be the place where everyone wants to come, have a seat, and get a hug. So join me weekly, right here in the kitchen of Ebony, Ivy, and Thyme, and see what we're up to.